Hey, we have Jo from Deno here at Future Frontend 2024 conference. We heard a super interesting talk about Deno just a while ago. Would you tell our viewers what is actually Deno?
Sure. So Deno is an open source JavaScript and TypeScript runtime. It's built in Rust with Tokyo and V8, so it's super speedy, it's super secure. It runs TypeScript out the box, so you don't need any complicated like TS config or anything like that. And it's actually built by the guy that originally wrote Node, so Ryan Dahl. And his hope was looking back at 10 years worth of Node out in the real world. You know, his hope was, how can we make this better? How can we make this a more pleasant developer experience? How can we sort of make JavaScript a more modern and easier language to use? And how can we make TypeScript a first-class citizen?
Okay, so what would be the topics? Why would you use Deno?
So, as I mentioned, it's faster than Node. It's more secure than Node, so we have a whole load of built-in permissions. So if you want to, run a particular script that you might not know what it's going to do, or you've got dependencies that you're not sure what they're going to do, you can give them specific permissions. So you can allow network positions, you can allow file system read-write permissions, or you can not allow those. We've also got a whole load of inbuilt tools which are built into the runtime. So we have a formatter so that your code stays beautiful. We have inbuilt testing tools so you don't need to install separate testing. And I'm biased, but it's a more pleasant initial setup than Node, in my opinion.
Okay, and how about migrating to Deno? I mean, often we already have something set up, and is it easy?
Yeah, so, I mean, it obviously depends on your project, it depends on what dependencies you need. We're not at full Node compat at the moment, but our next major release, which is coming out very soon, will be at full Node compat, and at that point moving over to Deno will be very easy and very pleasant. But yeah, at the moment it depends what particular packages you're using and what you need. But again, in my opinion, it is quite a pleasant... People will discover that they enjoy it much more once they do swap over. It takes a whole load of messy configuration out of your project. So, you don't need your TS config, and it makes your directory just look nice,
As a developer, I'm sold, right? But how could I convince people who pay my salary or for the project that I should spend time on migrating to Deno?
So one of the things that I would say is interesting to look at is the benchmarking. So we have a bunch of benchmarking tools, benchmarking sort of graphs on our site, so you can actually see how much faster it is. And then the thing that I would say is you've just got to try it out. I genuinely think the developer experience is that much more pleasant. Once you see it in action, you can feel how much of a nicer developer experience it is and how much more, it's delightful.
Yeah, unfortunately, developer experience is not often the number one concern for the business owners. Yeah, I don't know why.
You can't say that.
I wish it was. But what about the business owners? Okay, it's fast. We can measure that. I mean, we can convert that to numbers for sure. Is there something else?
So then the next thing you can talk about is security. So we all know dependencies can be a real problem. And we've seen it happen in history time and time again that dependencies had some sort of horrible code injection that was stealing users' data, something like that. So if you need the business case, the extra Deno security of being able to allow specific permissions, that's definitely a great business case. But also, I would argue, developer experience should absolutely be top of mind for business owners. If your developers aren't enjoying the experience that they have building your products, they're not going to stay. They're not going to be their most creative. They're not going to be, doing their best. So that internal developer experience of actually building your tools is super important.
Yeah, and of course, then also for external developers, I mean, how to make them more efficient. I mean, that's numbers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. How about future? What is in Deno's roadmap? Obviously, you cannot share everything, but is there something you want to?
So, like I mentioned, our next major release is going to be full node compat, which is a really big change for us, and I think that's going to be the really big turning point for Deno that makes everybody go, okay, not only is this a lovely developer experience, but swapping over is super easy for me. So I think that's going to be our next big thing. The other thing that we've not spoken about is the tools that Deno has on top of the runtime. So we're not just a JavaScript runtime. We have a whole load of tooling built on top of that. So we have Deno Deploy, we have Deno Subhosting, we have Deno KV, which is a key value database. So once you sort of get into the Deno ecosystem, there's all this tooling which is just there ready for you to make your developer experience, again, just much easier.
Thank you, Jo. I'm definitely converted now. Thank you for coming to Future Frontend, and I'll hope to see you another time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.